Hello there and welcome back to another review. So some more Jackie Chan for you today, and it seems like a lifetime since I reviewed some Jackie for you guys, so still so many to go. Anyway, today we're going to be looking at a new police story made back in 2004. We got Daniel Wu here, Nicholas C, Charlie Yeung, I think, not Charles Yeung, I think it's Charlie Yeung, and of course Jackie himself, directed by Benny Chan, who had previously worked with Jackie on Who Am I, and he'd made films like Moment of Romance and Gen X Cops, and we don't get no Maggie Cheung or Bill Tung this time in regards to the police story movies, but this film, New Police Story, is more of a tribute come reimagining of the police story movies, and try to sort of bring it up to date, make it hip, make it cool, but still at the same time giving you all that classic Jackie Chan action. I remember seeing a trailer for this back in the day and seeing clips of the bus section. I was like, oh my god, he's paying homage to Police Story 2, and I was just like, there's a bus in it, it's a police story movie, and it's like, I've got to see it, looks incredible. And and also Police Story 1 has a bus in it as well, so I'm like, it's homage to the first two movies, and I was so geared up for this movie. I was so looking forward to it. I was really hyped. As soon as I saw the first trailer, I think it was almost like a TV spot or something on the TV that I saw, and I was just like, oh my god, I've got to see it. It just looks incredible. He's going back to his roots. He's going back to sort of his old school movies. He's revisiting sort of that that police story thing, and I was just so hyped. Forget your rush hours, forget your tuxedo. This was Jackie back doing what he does best, right, on his terms. Comedy for the most part in this movie is put on the back burner, and we get more of a dramatic thriller sort of than any of the other police story movies up to this point. And it even had a very limited release here in the UK, even in some selected cinemas. And you have to remember as well, there are a lot of people that do give this movie a hard time. You have to remember that Jackie Chan was 50 at this point, and some of his American attempts, had been lacking to many hardcore Jackie Chan fans in regards to what we expect from a Chan movie. This was to me, I always looked at this film as very much his way of saying, look, I can still do it. I can still do the stuff. I can still do the business. And at the same time, try and give you a really entertaining movie. Not just the stunts and everything else, but I think this was his way of sort of saying, alright, my American films haven't necessarily landed with all of my sort of hardcore fans, or just my general fan base, but I think this was the return of the master, doing a new addition to sort of a beloved series, doing that great Hong Kong action on his turf, making the film he wanted to make. And I think that's why New Police Story, it does excuse me, a lot of people, they're not necessarily fans of this movie. Like this film, it pits Jackie up against a new type of villain, like a group of young, rich punks who are into sort of extreme sports, basically led by an always dependable Daniel Wu. And it's very similar idea to what they did with Die Hard 4, pitting sort of John McClane up against a new kind of tech villain, and think, that was the idea, to not only make the movie different, more dramatic with serious themes, but to also make the villains different, rather than sort of your usual drug dealer, to sort of bring it up to date. This is a new kind of villain that you're dealing with. This isn't just your usual sort of arms dealer or drug dealer or wherever it may be. I think it was a case of just, let's make the villains new as well and seem fresh. Now, you see, this is another one of the movies that shows more than anything Jackie Chan can act, right? This is another one of them movies where Jackie Chan is really acting his arse off. I'll have to do a list, actually. I'll probably do a video at some point listing, not just, I don't mean my favourite Jackie Chan movies or the best Jackie Chan movies. I'll do the best sort of acting sort of Jackie Chan, because there's loads of them. There's loads of them where he really does go above and beyond sometimes in his performance. And New Police Story, he really does, like or dislike the film, however you feel about it, but he does put in an amazing performance in this movie. And whilst Hollywood, they put him in sometimes kid-like, I would almost say insulting movies, insulting, I think, for Jackie and his fans in a way. Not to say all of his American and Western films are bad, because they're not, but I think, unfortunately, some of the films that he did, it's why? I'm not gonna, you probably know the kind of movies I'm talking about, Tuxedo, but there's some films that are, you just think, didn't quite hit the mark, unfortunately. Sometimes, I'd say they're not all bad, but it's just like I say, this one of them movies, New Police Story, where he is basically just like giving the middle finger to like all his doubters and just saying, look, I can still do a hardcore kick-ass action thriller movie. I'd say here he really does put an amazing performance, and the film is a bit bloated and overly stuffed, but it still doesn't stop it being a very easy to recommend if you want a great Chan film. I remember many saying at the time it was the best film he had made since Drunken Master 2, and now it does have its problems. It's not a perfect movie, and the drama scenes don't always work, or sometimes they do go on a bit too long. The film maybe could have been wrapped up maybe 10 or so minutes earlier than what it is, but this is, like I say, this is Jackie Chan at 50 years old. I mean, having like 50 years old, like hard-edged, serious, dramatic performance, Hong Kong action, returning to his roots, returning to a beloved franchise. There's still a lot to be enjoyed with New Police Story. So we meet Jackie as a drunk, and I love the opening shots as the vast city of Hong Kong. Then we cut to a year before at this hostage situation. This guy on the street is annoyed at this guy, Eric Chow, for making him use his money and company funds to invest in stock. And great reveal of Jackie Chan here, where he's sort of pretending to be a cameraman, then he throws a grenade, and this guy goes down a manhole and things like this. We even get a cameo from John Shum here, playing Eric Chow. We get an introduction to Chan Kwok Wing, his team, and his girlfriend. Unfortunately, as I say, no Maggie Cheung here. Now, I do love the idea of this movie, like the seasoned old school kung fu Supercop having to go against sort of these young rich punks, because all the way through this movie, all you want Jackie to do is kick their ass, right? That's all the way through this. You just want Jackie Chan to just beat the crap out of them. We meet Daniel Wu and his crew sort of ziplining into the Bank of Asia. Next, they're on like the roadside, opening fire to the police, and it really is, in a way, epic in nature. Like, you get the vibe this is a new breed of criminal. And Chan has promised to put them behind bars. Sam, one of his buddies who got injured during the altercation, says they think of it sort of what they're doing as all a game. And like I said, a bit like Die Hard 4, like where it's sort of techie. Like the gamers, they've got new technology. It's a different kind of villain. Now, say what you will about Chan's character in this, I actually like they give him sort of a character arc. There is a story and effort here being made with the character. So Chan's leads find out where this hideout is somehow. They make a point, like all his cop buddies just see this as like a routine thing, like they're going in to take these bad dudes out, and they make a point, especially with the dialogue, that to them that they think this is just going to be a usual day at the office, right? Like, because they're going to do this sort of raid and take the villains out, and they're sort of like going out tonight and let's get this done quick. Look out for Ken Lo here as part of his team, and what I love is that they go to take them out. Benny Chan takes his time with this, right? He does not rush this. A lot of filmmakers would have just sort of rushed them in there, got the action scene done, and just get the flashback done, and that's it. What Benny Chan does is he takes his time with this moment of the movie. Like, there's no rush to him, and obviously probably to Jackie, to tell this part of the movie. So his team all get taken out one by one, and I love the musical score here as Chan finds them all sort of hanging there. Like, you just know these are some sadistic arseholes, right? So right away, you just want, as I mentioned, Jackie Chan from this moment on to just kick their ass. You just want them to take it. You just want them to take them out, which is so. As I say, that's a common thing that runs through the movie. First, Chan gets tasked with sort of like having to assemble a gun really fast. Like, they sort of play these games, and then the spar match, and every time he loses, one of his team gets dropped. And Chan sort of begs them to let them go, and they even laugh at him. So now you definitely want Jackie Chan to kick their ass, okay? You definitely want Jackie Chan to kick their ass, because like they're humiliating him, right? They're really humiliating him. And Chan bets 4 lives to spar again, though he was 3 seconds over. And take nothing away from Chan's performance here either. As I've always said, I think Jackie Chan, he's an amazing actor. Obviously I'm biased because I'm a huge Jackie Chan fan, but a lot of people just see Jackie Chan and they just think, oh, okay, well, yeah, he's the kung fu guy, isn't he? He's a guy who just does fight scenes. It's like, no, there's a lot more going on with Jackie Chan. Like, he's funny, he's got charisma, and above all, especially in his movie, he can act, right? When in certain films, Jackie Chan puts on incredible movies, and not everyone agrees with that, but he really tries to give it his all here. Like, he really does go above and beyond with the performances he's giving. So his brother-in-law his brother-in-law Hong dies too. We get a huge big explosion with Tran trying to like push all these bodies out. So he's now sort of like a broken man, right? He's like, it's all about him sinking. Like I say, in terms of a character arc, it's like about him seeking his redemption and finding that light at the end of the tunnel. And it's a lot more of a personal police story film rather than just sort of doing what had come before again. They try and, like I say, in terms of a character arc, they try and give it a lot more depth, especially in terms of Jackie Chan's character. They do try and give it a lot more depth, and that enables Jackie Chan, especially where, like I say, the director's no rush to tell the story. It enables the film to have a lot of breathing space to give Jackie Chan moments to shine as an actor, and which he does very much so in this movie. And what is amazing is the film has been, it's been on for 30 minutes now, and now the film actually starts. Okay, so everything we've seen up to this point is sort of a build up and letting us know sort of why Jackie Chan is the way he is. So now we can actually, half hour in, we can actually get on with the story and what's going on with the movie. But the first half hour is still great entertainment. Like, this is how you do a setup to a movie, right? It doesn't matter sometimes how long the setup is, as long as it's entertaining and it draws you in. Bloated, yes, but it's still very cool opening. We meet Frank Cheng, played by Nicholas C, who says he has been appointed as Chan's new partner and starts even like hoovering his place at one point. We learn the thieves have done another job and Chan's boss Tai wants him in charge. We get really sweet emotional moments too, like with C sort of playing matchmaker with Chan and his girlfriend, with him holding like a birthday cake for her, and when they sit down to have dinner and Jackie Chan just breaks down saying he can't forgive himself, it really does sort of pack an emotional punch. And I say, unfortunately, where I'm a huge Maggie Cheung fan as well, it'd have been wonderful if Maggie was in this movie. But as I say, I'm taking nothing away from anybody that is in this movie, because they all do put in all great performances. It just would have been great to have had Maggie back. But again, at the same time, it was probably a decision. She either wasn't available or they didn't want her in the movie just for the sake. It was a reboot. It was a rehash. So it was like, not a rehash, but it was a reimagining of the, police story franchise. So Frank finds out they're using sort of European weapons. Chan apprehends a punk and so begins his climb out of this dark hole after Frank encourages him. You Rongguang in this movie too. Rongguang seemed to work with Jackie Chan a hell of a lot during this time. He still does to this day, but he seems he's a guy, he's just seemed like he's on Shanghai Noon. He was in loads of other movies with Jackie Chan, and it seemed like since 2000 odd time, Yeung crops up quite a bit in a number of Jackie Chan movies, and he is a guy in the police who blames Jackie for everything basically here, and he lets him and Chung work the case. He doesn't want them to, but in a roundabout way he sort of actually does. Makes out he's following protocol and he's sort of against what's going on, but he's actually sort of on Jackie's side, Jackie Chan's side. C's character says he's the little brother of one of the men who got killed. So it turns out Daniel Wu as Joe Kwan is the son of superintendent. His dad thinks he's a bum and his mum spoils him, and he hates the police as his dad used to beat him when he was younger. And it turns out he's become a bit of a sadist and he actually likes getting beaten, which is, I suppose each their own. So Frank and Chan go to see Sam, one of his old buddies, and I love how he's like an ex-cop running a casino at this point, complete with an earring. He gives them a watch that he grabbed off one of the female crooks, which has a logo which leads them to a party of these sort of ex-games, ex-crusaders types things. And it's funny, they just so happen to be having a party on that day. Go figure. So Rongguang's tough detective marches Sam there and wants him to identify all those involved. Sam gets shot and reveals it was him who stole the money and leaked information. We get an amazing stunt here from both Chan and C when they are sort of descending this building with these wires. There's no green screen here, there's no CGI. That they're actually doing this for real. And I love when Chan lands too and the chase begins, the guitar kicks in, and now we're getting what we want from a police story movie. Now we're off. They're the bad guys. There's Jackie's Hong Kong Supercop. Let's go get them. Chasing baddies through Hong Kong with kick-ass action. That's all you want from a police story movie. And I do love the homage to the bus scene. As I say, I'm not sure if the driver's foot would have stayed on the pedal, and surely one of the passengers. I'm sure if you have seen this movie with this scene, as spectacular as it is, like the driver sort of gets shot. There's nobody behind the wheel, right? There's nobody behind the wheel, but the driver sort of, his pedal, it's still got pressure on the pedal, but I'm surely one of the passengers could have made an attempt to sort of get behind the wheel to sort of move him out of the way to stop the bus, but nobody seems to bother with that. So we learned that C was lying about being Kwong's brother and that he isn't actually a cop. So how did he know the chief's name and even get in the station? I mean, bluff his way in so much. So Daniel Wu kills the girl Sue, who was like his girlfriend, Sue Chow, who was also wealthy and the daughter of like a shipping magnate. Basically just all rich kids and they're bored, right? That's the sort of setup for our villains here. So they start to follow Joe Kwan. There's a bit rushed here with him wanting to play a game with Chan's girlfriend, Ho Yi, where he goes on to strap a bomb to her in the police station, I might add. Not sure why she just doesn't call out rather than waiting to be discovered. She's sort of sitting there with this bomb strapped to her. For some reason she doesn't shout out to anybody help or anything like that. She just sort of sits there waiting to be discovered. So Chan finds her, and again some nice touching moments here of dialogue when she says she never blamed Chan, she blamed the people that did it. I also like where she puts her hand over the bomb and says, whether in this life or the next, I will always love you. Now isn't that a lovely line? Like I say, it might be a bit overly dramatic, but that was the intention of the movie, I think, to show things are at stake, to make it, you know, things are very, very much on the line here. She cuts the wires even though Chan wasn't, he was going to freeze it anyway. Basically, she's safe, right? But however, wouldn't you know, the bomb does blow and she is now in hospital. So Chan and Frank are both arrested, one for impersonating the policeman, the other for aiding him. Joe pays them a visit saying they're going to rob another bank, and quite a cool moment when they go to escape and even the police chief pretends he doesn't see them and none of their colleagues can. Even Rongguang, who has basically been up their arses the whole time, gives them his blessing. So they get clues from this video game the baddies have invented, robbing a bank in the building. They bring in the crook's parents in order to sort of play on their sympathy at this point. Daniel Wu shoots one of his own crew. Then after climbing the building, we have Chan doing what I would just call the Lego fight. That's the only way you could probably sum up the end fight in this movie. I'd just call it the Lego fight. And I love how they're trying to sort of pay tribute to the first movie with all the glass, but here it's like, you know what, we won't do glass again, let's do it with Lego, right? Okay, it's a product placement, but it still makes the scene, you know, it makes the scene memorable if nothing else. But who cares? Who cares if there's products placement? It's sort of like, you know, how the first movie was known by the stuntman as Glass Story, but Lego Story, why not? So I love how Chan means business here too. Like every takedown he does on the guy, he's like, come on, get up. Like, I just love how he's really sort of, he means business. Like, he's not messing about. You know, like at the end of Who Am I, when he's fighting the guys on the roof and Jackie Chan goes, come on, and they're fighting. And I love it when Chan is so up for like fighting. He's like just goading the guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's do it. Like, you want to take me on? And I just love that. I just absolutely love that. Yeah, so like he goes to like him and this guy, they go to fight, and you know, then sort of like the police arrive. So Frank is now hanging like and suspended. Joe wants one last assemble the gun game with Chan. Great thing is with Daniel Wu, he has so much charisma, you just can't not like him, unfortunately, like that, because it's Daniel Wu, and I think he's a fantastic villain in this movie. And again, like with a lot of films, sometimes it is wrapped up a bit too quickly. So anyway, Joe gets shot in a very emotional scene that ends with Frank being saved by Chan. And like when they get Joe, there isn't really much of a payoff from that. Chan asks his girlfriend to sort of marry him. Then we have probably the best scene of the movie, which ties it all together, where we learn Jackie Chan helped sort of Nicholas C's dad, played by Wu Bei, after he was killed shoplifting a 7-Eleven, and comforted Frank. Like, he sort of comforted Frank when he was little. So it's quite nice that because you do think, who the hell, you know, is this, like, who is this guy? Like, why is he helping Chan? Why is he looking out for him? And then there's a bit of a nice twist that it turns out Jackie Chan was the cop who sort of looked after him when he was little, so it's trying to help this guy as he showed him sort of kindness and comfort when he was much younger. But as I say, I know a lot of people are not fans of New Police Story, or I'm not saying they're not fans, a lot of people might think it's a bit bloated and overstuffed, which it is, but I've always enjoyed New Police Story, and it's one of them movies where it's, like I say, it's in no rush to tell its story. It's definitely an updated version of the Police Story movies, and it's done for the most most part, I would say really, really well. Okay, we got no Maggie Cheung, we got no Bill Tung here, but it's still, like I say, for a reimagining of the Police Story franchise, it has a lot of really high good moments in this movie. You get your fight action, you get, but above all, you more so than anything else, you get a huge dramatic weight to the movie. So what did you think of New Police Story? Actually, what is your favourite Police Story movie? I mean, we can roll into that Police Story 4 First Strike. I still count First Strike as a Police Story movie because it was in some territories named Police Story 4, so I always include that as part of the Police Story franchise. But anyway, let me know what you thought of New Police Story and if it's one of your favourite Jackie Chans. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory.